Oh, it is good to be back in Washington. Not because it's pleasant to be here, not because it's a joyful place to be, but it's cold. So it's so good for training, because I had set a goal to run a sub 255 marathon before the end of the year, and I'm down to the last month. So I'm running in the DR when it's 80 degrees, 90 degrees in the dark. It is a whole nother level to get speed. It's not impossible, but I'm lazy. So here I am running now. So my strategy for those of you that are runners that would like to get your speed up, the strategy I'm using this month is to run 10 miles slow, 9 to 10 minute mile pace, hills earlier in the day, and then do sprint drills later in the day, probably pre-lunch. And when I say sprint drills, I mean doing a 6 minute mile pace for a half a mile, followed by a quarter mile pace at between a 9 to 12 minute mile pace. So full exertion followed by pretty well recovered rest run. So that's my strategy over the next 30 days to do it on Christmas Eve. So if anyone wants to join me, shoot me a message. I could slow my slow runs up too if that's still too fast, because really it's just a matter of exhausting, fatiguing the legs, and then beating speed into them. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a chapter in my book that I wrote that my editor highly recommended me taking out, but it seems apt now, so I'm going to talk about it. And it is the term I coined, the shame, blame, gangbang. Okay, so the reason why my editor said take this out of the book is because she's like, you don't know how many people have actually, been tricked into going to a gangbang, and then that might be traumatic for it. And I'm like, well, I bet there's one person. But I took it out. So we're going to dive into the concept today, because it's an important one. And you might be asking yourself, I don't know if I have been a recipient to the shame, blame, gangbang. Well, let me ask you a couple questions. Are you currently happy? Meaning happy with your physical ability, your fitness, your body. You look in the mirror without clothes on and feel super good about it. Are you currently happy in your job? Go to work, just loving what you do. Are you currently happy in your relationships? Like look forward to seeing your spouse, significant other, kids. And then when you go do what you do it for them, because you're like, I am doing everything I can to take the best care of my people. Or are you not? Are you exhausted, guarded, and anxious? Have you been aged prematurely? Because if you are not in great shape, if you're not feeling super connected, it's not your fault. You have been the recipient of a shame, blame, a gangbang, okay? Because really, in our brain, when it comes to our nervous system, we have two main modes, and I've broken down so many different concepts, trying to figure out which one will stick with people to simplify taking back control of neurological balance. So today we're going to break it down into shame, blame mode or game mode. So kids are naturally in game mode. Well, more and more kids are not ever actually experiencing that because of how toxic our the world has become. But think of like the average kid. Like, they just play, they run, everything's fun. And then what do we do? What do we do when they hit like 5 or 6? We tell them to sit in school, which, even though we know neurologically, anatomically, physiologically, all the oddities, is that sitting decreases our risk or increases our risk of disease, mental illness, death, cancer, everything. Sitting increases the risk of all those things. So we take a developing child and then we're like, we're going to go ahead and pay on average $16,000 a year per kid per year to put them in public education. Go sit, kids. And then what's the messaging they have? Learn this so you can go on to the next grade. Learn this so you can go on to the next grade. And learn this so you can go on to the next school, high school, college. And the whole time that's developing neurology within their brain. Is it because those people are bad? Yes. Or could there be a different answer? Or could it be that neurologically they are training our brain to be able to listen to good instruction, to do the next right thing, to follow the strongest leader? Because that's the reptilian center of the brain. That's the survival part of the brain. And so the amygdala, the dorsal vagal nerve, is the nerve that would allow our species to last 300,000 years because we look to the strong leader to tell us what to do. Okay, so now, and that would be very strong because if we did not listen to the leader, we would feel shame. That put us back in line. And so this is the ultimate shame, blame, gangbang on a cultural level. Because we experience this with my wife and her family, because her family is public education teachers, right? Like her mom's a teacher, her grandma's a teacher, her grandpa's a teacher, the whole family's a teachers, right? True blue public education. And if you don't do public education, your kids are going to be weird, which is kind of like a little bit, did you ever hear that? You don't do public education, they're going to be weird. It's like, it's the opposite now, isn't it? You know, do public education, your kid's going to question their gender and want to mutilate themselves and then be put on psychoactive drugs in order to manage their emotional state.
Lap 4, 10-12.
But that was the ultimate thing. Until the pandemic hit. And then my wife and I, we decided we're not going to put our kids in masks. We're not going to train them to do something unhealthy just because enough people got really emotionally invested in it. So what has happened in their brain during the systemic training is the amygdala has gotten very strong. Do what you're told. Stay safe. Okay. Shame and blame. Well, and then the problem is that neurologically we then look to the leader to lead us. And so when a person is not in a healthy place, right? If you don't have the body that you would hope for, you don't have the relationships you'd hope for, you don't have the job you'd hope for, you don't have the fulfillment in your life that you'd hope for. The brain then says, someone's at fault. Who's at fault? And this is where it gets a little wonky, because what's at fault is the systems that have trained our brain to be this way. And they're just systems. They're systems that were put in place in order to train people to be factory workers. Right? It's like, look at the history of education. That's what it was. That's what started it. And so now we don't need more factories. So our nervous system still is trained to sit down and do exactly what we're told. And so now we're kind of left to our own devices on what to do. And so what do? We blame. We blame the people around us. Why am I unhappy? It's probably because I don't get the support from my spouse. Why am I unhappy? My kids are just out of control. Why I'm out of shape, that's just what happens when you have kids. Why? Blame. Rather than blaming the real root cause, which is imbalance within your brain. The blame, I hate to say it, only lies within you and your neuroanatomy. It was trained to be that way. So, and we can extrapolate this like to, health policies like across the board, right? The current, the pandemic was a big one, right? You should do this for me, I'm doing it for you. And I was at a party yesterday, and they were talking about this, our mission center in the Dominican Republic, and they like asked the question like, well, is it always faith-based? Well, it's like, well, everything Chelsea and I have done has been following the example of Jesus. And then it wasn't until the pandemic that I realized like being part of the traditional healthcare model is not in line with Jesus' teaching. And I found that out when I went against the overwhelming odds of political coercion in healthcare in Washington State. And so, and this girl that we were talking to, she says, I'm gonna go ahead and stop you right now. I'm a big believer in vaccines. Which is kind of a funny thing to stop someone mid-sentence after when they're answering a question to tell them about your belief system. But what happens next is the funnier part. She goes, I actually am super for vaccines because I'm all about the least amount of harm to most people in order to do the most good. Except for my kids, I didn't vaccinate them. I think everyone else should put poison in their body. Found out that my family has a reaction to poison that's negative. And that, my friend, is a good example of someone who's involved actively in the shame, blame, gangbang process. She took a moment to shame, blame me, as I clearly stated that not only that I do not believe in putting poison in my body, that it was not against Jesus' example, and neither was covering my face within Jesus' example. There is a religion that's like super all for like covering the face of women and subservient people that don't have the right to be treated as humans, but it's not Jesus' example. No, that was a different religion, which is the fastest growing in the world. And it's almost as if it seems like it's almost like they're training our kids to get used to doing said things. I don't know. It's probably just a coincidence. So, if you find yourself, for example, someone who doesn't want to vaccinate their kids, involved in a shame, blame, gangbang, here's my piece of advice. Or you find yourself like just sick of being miserable and fat and exhausted and anxious and guarded. You are a recipient of the shame, blame, gangbang. All the unhealthy people around you have normalized being unhealthy. So there's a couple things that people tend to do. I've mastered these, right? Thing number one is explain to the people that are doing the shame, blame, gangbanging against you how you don't like that. I did this during the Department of Health investigation, military investigation, the LMI investigation, when I decided not to dress up like a bank robber during the pandemic to show everyone I was serious about this unstoppable virus. I tried to explain to them that I don't like being told to do things that are stupid, and how the things that they were suggesting were stupid. So, is that a successful strategy? No, it is not. Explaining to them how the things that they're screwing you with is stupid. not successful. No. It's very much like my new friend that I met the other day. They believe in it. You cannot explain someone through a belief system. They believe. And they may say, oh, I also believe in Jesus. They don't. Their belief forms their habits, forms what they will stand for. So and what I did is I nearly killed myself trying to defend myself and defend my patients and my team, trying to explain to people how the thing that they are doing is stupid. That's not a good strategy. That is stupid. If you're gonna shame, blame, gangbang, staying in the room continues to get you screwed. And then you're screwing yourself, right? Let's be honest. So, strategy number 1, explain how the thing is dumb and how you don't like it. Not a good strategy. Don't do it. I nearly struck myself out by doing that. The thing is, like, I get a lot of credit for things, but I'm not smart. And so, thing number 2, reverse shame, blame, gangbang them. Okay, this is a good one. You can see it now with the vaccine debate right now. Everyone, all of a sudden, is feeling super strong. They want to shame, blame, gangbang the other way. And dare I say it, it feels good, right? It feels good to be like, now I got enough of my team to make you feel bad about your team and then start screwing that other person. It feels good. However, you have to ask yourself the question, what do I believe? And if you say that you're like, I believe following Jesus' example. Jesus never really was into the whole shame, blame, gangbanging people. In fact, he is quite the opposite. He simply walked away. He called them snakes and poison and dying, and then he walked away. And then he went on to go help other people that wanted to get help. And that is really the third option. If you find yourself in a situation, you're a recipient of shame, blame, gangbang, whether it's being unhealthy,
Lap 5, 10, 12.
being anxious, guarded, exhausted, depressed, addicted, fat, lazy, whatever term you want to use. It's all a byproduct of neurological training. It's super straightforward. You're either A, going to be trained to stay and be told what to do, and God willing, we'll get some strong leaders in place to have actual health campaigns, and then they'll tell you what to do. Or B, you can actively engage the other part of the nervous system. Good morning, Lillian. It's so funny to see you on here with the title of this live. Such a sweet person. And the easiest way to engage the game mode of our brain is by simply moving your body, connecting with the ventral vagus nerve, and then creating something. So this is where it gets a little bit exciting, because let's say you're overweight, let's say you're exhausted, you're anxious, you're guarded, you're burnt out, you're depressed, whatever it is. The worse you are, the worse you feel, the more strength your amygdala has. Which your amygdala is your powerhouse of your brain. And depending on how strong that part of the brain is, sets the stage for how strong the opposite part of your brain is. Meaning, the more messed up you are, the stronger the game part of your brain can be. And so, think of the amygdala as energy. Raw, powerful, emotional energy. You just simply have become out of balance. And we need to balance the equation. So, the easy way to remember that is Einstein's formula, which is E equals mc squared. Move, connect, and create. When you move your body, in essence, you stimulate that part of the brain that has been told, stay here, wait, into getting out of that mode. Disengages the shame blame mode into the game mode. It's all good. Let's move forward. Number 2, connect the vagus nerve, ventral vagus. There's really only a handful of ways to do this. There's lots of ways you can kind of activate it, but to strengthen it, it pretty much comes down to chiropractic adjustments of the upper cervical spine and sacrum and yoga. And I would say that both really are necessary in order to optimize development, because I went, Buenos Dias, Ruby, went down to the DR and didn't have any chiropractors down there, and I was doing multiple hours of yoga a day. But neurologically, it was a very small percentage of the benefit of combining the two, of yoga and chiropractic. Because yoga stimulates receptors within the brain and within the spine with different movements and coordinated breath. But chiropractic creates an environment of what's called neuroplasticity, meaning allowing rapid brain changes to occur. So, and ultimately, I mean, really, it's just like it's a neuro hack. Basically makes everything you do more effective. And then by creating something, having some kind of thing that you're working on, you then start to increase activation within the substantia nigra. And this is where it really does take baby steps, and this is where I wrote the book Get Paid and Get Laid, because it's like every chapter has like little action items, and the action items are really baby steps. Because have you ever tried to take on something and then all of a sudden you hit a roadblock or you mess up or whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna start working out, and then you miss a day, and oh gosh, whatever it is. It's because that again, that stay mode, that shame blame mode, you're supposed to just wait here mode. It's so strong. So really, it's a gradual process of training that substantia nigra neuroanatomy to turn back on with little baby steps in order to gradually strengthen it. Yeah, and yes, if you're wondering, well, can I just hit it hard and just go for it? Yeah, you can, if you can handle it, but that has not been my experience with working with hundreds of thousands of interactions with people. What seems to be better is having little baby steps that they're working on, because as the brain changes, it is in essence developing, and it's the same as if you had kids or grandkids, when babies go from like a sitting position to be able to, from sitting to standing, they get super fussy like a couple days before. That's because as their brain is making changes, it's a highly demanding neurological process, and so they get super fussy and emotional. And if you are surrounded by people that are still caught up in that shame, blame, gang bang lifestyle, as soon as you're like, oh gosh, this is really hard, I don't know if I can do this, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's because it doesn't work. I tried that before, didn't work. I went and talked to my doctor, they just put me on antidepressants, and you will fall back into the very situation that you want to get out of. So, which then leads to the final algorithm of how to successfully leave and no longer be participating in the shame, blame, gangbang, which is developing a community of people that no longer want to also participate in the shame, blame, gangbang. People that want to move, they want to connect, and they want to create something bigger than themselves and their feelings. And if you fall into this category, go to drugfreehappykids.org, get the book, start the process, and then if you live here in the Arlington, Stanwood, Camino Island area, send me a message. I'm here for a bit, and I'd love to have you join me on my runs, because it's way more fun doing hard things with other people. And it allows that narrative that is everyone, everywhere, to start to get changed from why am I bad? Well, it's because of this, to what am I doing to be better?